Look, I what I don't like about what's going on is I just view this as, well, let's watch the Democratic Party commit suicide. And like, I've been a Democrat most of my life. I kind of view myself as outside it, but I don't like watching the Democrats just commit suicide. And what I see is most of the country doesn't really, at this point, given the fraud, waste, and abuse we know is there, 90% of the country is like, get rid of that fraud, waste, and abuse. And I just view this as yet another example of the progressive left boxing themselves into a suicide dance. Now, what the progressive left should be doing is saying, okay, Elon, you're clearly the most qualified person in the world to do something like this. We want to dialogue with you about how you're doing and what are you doing. I don't believe that's actually what happened. And again, I like Elon. I know I think he's obviously the most important builder in the world. And I just think, if you want to say my former side, I don't believe that they're actually engaging. I think it's like another dance where I'm supposed to say, of course, like whatever. It's like there's this one issue where I might, and then you get boxed into you cannot solve the problem. And then I would say, what is the biggest problem in this society? Biggest problem in this society, from my perspective, is legitimacy of our institutions. Why aren't they legitimate? They're not legitimate because, okay, do any of you really believe that 99% of your taxpayer dollars are being spent? But last and not least, and probably arguably most importantly, there's two revolutions happening. One is transparency and one is AI. Okay, so why is it that we do not know where every penny of our money goes? Like, how do you explain that to people? And by the way, slightly more technically, what large language models do is you can go into the contracts and see exactly what happened. So in the past, we couldn't do this. Now we can. The right response is, we want this to happen. We want to happen. We want to be involved in the dialogue. The real response is, it feels like the people criticizing Elon don't want it to happen. And this is going to destroy those people.
Alex, you are correct. And I just love the fact that the Democratic Party absolutely does not know that. And it's hilarious to see them digging themselves deeper and deeper into this, no matter what Trump does, no matter what Elon does, even if it's for the good of the country and the people, we're going to be against it. And it's so mind-blowing to see this transpire in real time. And Alex Cart from, Palantir, right? CEO is 100% correct, right? They should be shaking hands, trying to help, be a part of the narrative, and overall just become a little bit more in the center and work actually with the other side. But it's another missed opportunity when it comes to the Democrats, and they're just going to keep missing these opportunities the longer and longer they oppose President Trump. And at the end of the day,
to recall,
this is a growing story of exactly how they frame questions, how they cover Trump and Elon and Doge and all this kind of things. And here we have Stephen Miller, right? Yet again, ending people's career on CNN. And I don't know why they keep bringing him on. I mean, I do. He gives great views. People love watching him just fry up these CNN anchors. But nonetheless, he just gives it how it is. And I'm just so happy that he is part of the Trump team. And he is incredibly smart and, witty. So with that being said, let's get into it.
Member of the armed forces. So you're saying that the president, in your view, doesn't have the authority to recall a member of the armed forces who may or may not, again, I'm the first time hearing of this, that may or may not be serving overseas?
Stephen, you understand how the Guard and Reserve work. They have a day job, and then when they're activated, they deploy. While they deploy,
right, but
that employment is protected by law.
Your question is lacking in so much detail. I promise you, I'm trying to follow your question. Are you asking me if the president has the authority to remove a member of the military who may be serving overseas? Is that your question?
My question was...
Okay, well, I don't know how much airtime you want to spend on this, but I'm not following your question.
Well, I think it's an important one. I guess I'll determine how much airtime I spend on it, but does your administration understand Who is in the federal workforce?
Yes, we have such a broad question. Of course, we understand who's in the federal workforce.
As if the question couldn't get more dumb, she says, does your administration know who's in the federal workforce? This is comical. Like there's not receipts that show all of that, and that the current administration doesn't have smart enough people to know these things. It's just ridiculous.
Force. And I'm happy to indulge all of these very histrionic questions
That
about
it's
anyone who may or may not be
30%,
fired.
that it's
But
30% veterans,
But I think that
and that you have people who are deployed.
the U.S. government has $36 trillion in debt. The interest payments on the debt exceed the national defense budget. The American people are exhausted and tired of watching their tax dollars be corruptly spent, abused, wasted, and in every sense robbed and stolen from them. This president, for the first time in history, is committed to restoring accountability at every level of the federal government. You may assert there's no waste in the Pentagon. You may assert there's no waste in
Stephen,
Treasury.
I'm not
You may
asserting- I
assert
don't
there's
think
no
anyone
waste in
would assert that,
HHS.
Stephen, I don't think anyone.
Then why are you not celebrating these cuts? If you agree there is waste, if you agree there is abuse, if you agree there is corruption, why are you not celebrating the cuts, the reforms that are being instituted? Every day that no action is taken, the entire
Stephen, let's calm
salaries
down.
of American workers that are taxed disappear forever.
Stephen, let's calm down.
This is
We're
not-
We're not having a debate.
There's no reason.
About whether there are
Well,
places.
you are clearly trying to debate me, and I will be as excited as I want to be about the fact that we are saving Americans billions of dollars, that we are ending the theft and waste and grift and corruption, that we are stopping American taxpayer dollars from subsidizing a rogue federal bureaucracy that has been relentlessly weaponized against the American people.
Okay,
You
Stephen,
may not care about
I'm
this
not
issue.
talking about
Your colleagues
whether
may not
there's
care about
not
this
an
issue,
area
but we care
to
about this
cut in
issue.
the
The
government. I
American
understand
people
that,
care about
Stephen.
this issue.
They also
And-
care about
And
privacy.
the American
so let me
public
ask you about
overwhelmingly
that.
supports what President
Stephen,
Trump is doing.
Let's talk about IRS data the Doge will be able to access. You have Doge asking for access to the IRS systems. This includes the integrated data retrieval system. I know you've talked about this a little bit. Will Doge employees be able to access individual taxpayer ID numbers and social security numbers?
No. But also, keep in mind, you keep
Will they
talking
be able
about
to
Doge
access
employees.
taxpayer bank account information?
They will not be able to access anything that any other appropriately authorized federal employee could access. When you keep talking about, quote, Doge employees, you're just talking about federal workers. You're just literally talking about federal workers.
Yeah. So, like Stephen Miller said, you're actually only talking about federal workers. So, even if it's Doge and Elon Musk is running this organization or not, right? They are federal workers. They have been, granted access to see these things just like any other administration, and people that work for the government have access to it. So if these are authorized people to see these documents and data and whatnot, then they've always had access to see this in the past, right? It's just now that they don't like hearing and seeing other people that they may or may not disagree with, or that it's cool to disagree with, right? At this time. So it's just really hilarious. It's always just so egregious. Every single crying moment of these anchors' questions. It's crazy to think. And Stephen Miller absolutely rips her apart. And I love seeing it. Every time Stephen Miller is on CNN, I will be reacting to it and seeing it. And it's just comedy at this point. And every time it's an absolute home run. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share Smooth Unfiltered. So, yeah.